Hi everyone, Anna's here. It is off time, a little money date. I want to talk to you about today a very interesting topic. Is variable income giving you trouble in your overall finances? Is that something you're afraid of? And why you shouldn't be? Now, number one, variable income presents an opportunity. Maybe you're a real estate agent earning commission. Maybe you're a salesperson and you do not get a steady paycheck. Maybe you choose to work part-time because you have other things and responsibilities in life. So I want you to open mind about the idea that variable income is not something to be afraid of. Hi, Cynthia. Good to have you. Now, I want to tell you a little of how I've handled variable income in my family. This was late 2010, early 2011. Yuri and I decided that we wanted to make a change and move to California from the East Coast. We used to live in Maryland, DC area. And that also meant that Yuri had to quit his job, or he quit his job. He used to work for Deloitte doing auditing, where he had a steady paycheck, everything was smooth every 2 weeks. I had a job. Hi Greg, good to have you here. Was getting into financial planning too. By then I already had my CFP designation, started working with clients, and all of a sudden we decide that we want to pick up and go into beautiful sunny California, where we had zero connections, zero friends, zero anything, and that's what we wanted. We wanted a change. Once we got here and we chose to settle in San Francisco Bay Area, Northern California, actually had one little friend here, but that was really it. We had to step back and actually understand what our overall operation was as far as how much income we needed to have per month, and we had a little bit of savings in our emergency reserves, right, that we could utilize for this transition period. Remember, for some of you who are on variable income, that means you might be transitioning from one job to another. For some of you who actually choose to have that kind of income, it is consistent flow. So you need to figure out how your system operates, because every month, right, and we're coming on to the end of the month, you need to pay your bills. You need to make sure you have enough money to buy food and all of those things. Now, over time, and because for you, right, with the income changed, my income changed as well, because I now, right, had to settle in here in the Bay Area. I did not have an office, right? I did not have clients I could work. So I would get up 6 o'clock in the morning. This time, hi Tara. And I would work East Coast hours, because everything I knew and I had was on East Coast. This was right when I kind of got a taste of working remotely with my team. And so the biggest thing that we decided to do for ourselves is go back to, I talked to you about last week, how Money Date was born, right? Where we need to make sure that every month, right, we looked at where our money was going. We had 2 checking accounts, right? One paid for variable expenses, the other paid for fixed expenses, and we stuck to that. We had a savings account on the side because there was only one income stream, right? And Yuri's fluctuated. When we got here, he decided that he wanted to go in real estate. Well, guess what? When you go in real estate, you don't make money for a while, a long while. It was actually about 1.5 years until he started making money so that it could supplement, right, our existing income. So my point here today is that when you look at your situation, I want you to identify your baseline, right? What is your baseline? How much money do you need to live on? What's the total for your fixed expenses, rent, mortgage, car payments, health insurance, car insurance, all of those things? How much do you need there? What about your variable expenses? Because variable expenses is what we worked on cutting back, right, in those months where we didn't have as much income, because we just didn't, right? There was not an opportunity. So if you are transitioning, this is something you can implement. If you happened to have a job, right, or a career where your income fluctuates, I still challenge you to come up with 2 things. What are your fixed expenses for the month? What are your variable expenses? You gotta know those numbers. This is where Money Date came about because Yuri and I wanted to be on the same page. We needed to have a streamlined communication, consistent, right? And so we decided to call that a Money Date. Let's have a Money Date so we can, bring each other up to speed on what was happening. So by then, I was already in charge of our operations, right? Our personal operations financial system, was establishing what I now call a money flow, because I wanted to make sure that if we were to do this, right? And if we were to be successful, and I knew that Yuri wanted this so bad because he proposed this change, right? We proposed to quit everything we had, the steady life, the steady paycheck. In the way I look at it, and that's been the best decision that we've made, because we're still here 8 years later. It's a wonderful place we live in, but discipline, right, that it ingrained into our own relationship, right, into our style of communication with each other, into how things flow, right? Again, that money flow idea was really simple. It started with saying, all right, this is what we have to work with. If we do not have enough money in our variable account this week, or, if it's 2 weeks into the month or 3 weeks into the month, guess what? We are not going out. There are many things you can do, and I'm just giving you one example. There are many things you can do, right? Hi, Charlene, good to have you here. That you can actually, kind of raise or cut your bar in terms of your overall spending. But the idea I have for you today is that regardless, and you should probably strive to be on variable income, because that gets you the opportunity to grow. And when you're growing, it hurts, right? Growing pains, you all have heard of that saying? That's right. So it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, Richard, good to have you here. So presenting the idea that creating a money flow, consistent money flow, where it doesn't matter, right? If you're getting 100% of your paycheck, or if 1 month only 50% of your paycheck come in, you still have sort of this, operation that you're running where your fixed expenses are paid, your variable expenses are paid, you have enough money, and my friends, if you're running a deficit over here and accumulating debt on the side, that is something that translates into making sure that it's part of your fixed expenses, okay? So I want you to think about that. The idea of me sharing this story today is because it works. It has worked for us for almost last 8 years, and I can't even imagine doing things differently. Now, of course, it took us a little bit of time to get on into the level where more income was coming in, but the idea that it was gonna be there, it's guaranteed, is just gone. We don't operate in that kind of mindset. And so for those of you who have that kind of situation, let me know what questions you have. I'll be talking more about this topic in the coming days and weeks, because I think in today's world where we live, there's so many opportunities and so many people taking, right, the leap of faith in terms of having side gigs, starting businesses, and this applies to businesses as well. I know this from a personal experience. I own a business. And so just like it applies to personal finance system, it applies to business. You can do this. You just got to figure out your baseline. I want to close with this. Let me know if you have questions and how you are managing the your variable income. And remember, it does not have to put strain on your finances. You should look at it as an opportunity to expand, to grow, and do better. Thanks so much for tuning in.